can put it on my
I think I broke it, Danny. Give me a second. The intro just keeps breaking for some reason. And now we've got this really random overlay. So we're not doing well. But listen, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We have got the wonderful Dani Henderson with us today. We're delving into the world of demons, the realities of it, the modern world, Dani's experiences, and hearing firsthand the differences, the modern terminology and the historic terminology, how idols, deities, their original meanings, how they change throughout time. We've spoken about this already, but Dani's going to delve deeper into that. But before we get into all that, Dani, how are you? How have you been keeping? And how are you this morning?
Hi there. Hello, Ron. Hello to the lovely audience and viewers. I'm Dani Henderson. It's great to be back here again. I've done a few lovely sessions on this great channel. Thank you, Sean Atwood, for being so open-minded to allowing others to come on and share their experiences in order to engage with humanity and give some real truths out there. I'm great. I'm putting on the largest disclosure event in the world in Eastbourne, East Sussex, May 10th and 11th. You will see a fleet of physical spacecraft flying over Eastbourne Beach. My website is here, Galactic Spiritual Informers. All the information is there, but I'll leave it there for now. We can come back to that because I know our focus today really is the demonic entities. What are they? Who are they? And who are they after?
Well, 100%. And I'm just going to post a link in the side chat for anyone who is watching this back or maybe thought they misheard Dani say a fleet of spacecraft. Here is the fleet of spacecraft from last session. So I'm just posting a link. I just heard, listen, I've just heard my washing machine kick into spin drive, and I've just heard about 4 of my dishes slide off of something and hit the floor. Like this washing machine, it's like it's got a point to prove. It's like every time I go live, it's going spin time. It's crazy.
No, it's just something in your house trying to be louder than you, darling. That's all it is.
Yeah, it tries. I need to soundproof in here, man. I spend way too much of my day singing, and there's a little girl who likes to nap and a very tired mother who needs also to nap. So yeah, but look, this is the wonderful thing, Dani, right? I think that was something else just fell. So we've seen you on the channel, right? But it's always, I always feel like you're with a guest. You always bring somebody with you, or there's something else going on. And I feel like I've never really gotten to know the rawness that is Dani Henderson and the skill sets. And we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and you were telling me all about demons and a whole bunch of things I don't know if I can mention. And I was like, whoa, you need to talk about this, Dani. And I'm excited for you to be here. We're here today, tomorrow. And where do you want to start this journey into the demonic and these realms? Tell us where we're starting.
So, I asked you to have a picture of Pan ready. Pan, the nature god. There he is. So you can see him holding pan pipes, and he's got horns. He's got cloven hooves. I know we have another image further down with a more kind of modern. There we are. So the hooves and the goat. So people are so brainwashed and programmed to believe that this image is nothing but Satan, Lucifer, a demon, and it's not true. We've been brainwashed and programmed. This image actually represents Pan, the nature god, from eons ago, from Druidism and paganism, a beautiful deity that people would send love to bring in nature, to bring in fertility, to bring in crops. He was an overall beautiful, angelic frequency of love and survival through a hard winter. And over the years, over the centuries, Romans came along. They wanted the Christian marketing strategy to be the one, singular religion. So they called everybody that wasn't a Christian a pagan. The Druids are more of a higher religious order, but same thing. So we've got to be really careful that we have to understand how much we've been lied to as a humanity and tricked and coerced and wrapped up in the Doreen virtues and the wishy-washy bollocks of spirituality. Be very careful. It's very real. It's absolutely beautiful, but there are tricks along the way, and we're going to talk about some of those. But also to say that we need to neutralize this image. Now, it has been demonized, and you will see it in places like the Vatican. It's not allegedly, it is there, and that's for a darker purpose too. But going back to an original image, Pan, the nature god, was something that was beautiful. Now, if we want to know what every soul is an actual goal. We are living in a time of a great spiritual war. It is good against evil. It is Satan against God. It is love against hate. And each individual person is on their own in this realm, moving forward, learning to love self, forgive self, but also to watch out and learn how to protect yourself as well. I'll step there for a moment, Ron. I'm sure you've got questions, unless you're doing laundry.
First off, I've muted myself because you're one of these guests where I'm shutting up and listening. Like, there's so much to learn from you, Dani, right? There's so much to learn, even within the history lessons, like when we were hearing there about Pan and learning about how we're always this misguided. But isn't it so clever the way they've gone about demonizing all of these entities, shall we say, right? Because Ron's brain isn't working yet. They've done a really good job. They really have. Because
even the word demon, Ron, the word demon, we go back down the timeline. There are three major scholars, Greek scholars, that people tend to look to for a lot of academic snobbery, which I've got no time for. But nonetheless, through historical men, you've got Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. These were great scholars. They also created something called the Greek mystery schools. They also turned into Egyptian mystery schools, where young initiates were taught and trained in the way of metaphysics. Metaphysics is something every human on this blessed planet is born with. We all have amazing abilities, amazing experiences that are God-given, that are from creator source. They're not witchy things. They're not demonic things. We all have them very easily. Here's a quick example. How do we create heat and healing on the body? Well, we just do this. You literally rub your hands together fast. You create a friction. You create an electromagnetic frequency that's all of your own. And what I've taught so many parents as a therapist and children's nanny for years, rubbing hands together, creating heat, and then laying hands on self or laying hands on others. Now, if I have a polystyrene cup next to me and I rub my hands together to create natural static, natural from me, I can move that cup. If I put leaded pencils down in a row, and I create heat and static in my own hands, I can move those pencils. Is that devil? Is that evil? No, that's part of our natural, beautiful energy that we can do a lot with. Some of us need to know how to tone it. I remember one year I was with my former husband and I was raging inside, angry with him, just so angry. I wanted to smack him silly. I never did, but I was thinking about, really wanted to run across the room and slap him because he was so verbally aggressive to me. We're friends now, but at this time, I was just at the end. And I smashed a cold Pyrex dish that was on the other side of the worktop from me. It was a dish I got out of the cupboard to make something. And the argument started because he always thought he was the great, Gordon Ramsay cook. And I got so annoyed because I wanted to do something nice and he's always criticizing. And I was standing by a bowl of water, washing up water. And I was like, you mother fudder, in my head. I was going mad and it cracked and it scared me because I realized how much my energy was leaking out, the rage in me. And that rage comes from a lifetime as well. It wasn't just an individual kind of thing. It was a build-up. But this is natural metaphysical power that we have, How many people have done this technique, rubbed their hands together, created heat, and laid hands on people and just sent beautiful love? Where's that love coming from? It's coming from that battery. How's that battery powered energetically? It's powered from God. It's powered from source. It's powered from the divine energy that we all are a spark of. But when you talk to people who are programmed and brainwashed with a religion, they've been terrorized into believing that if they dare to look at their own magnificence, that that's the devil. I mean, that's so easy, isn't it? Oh no, that's the devil. You know, as a child in church, unfortunately at 7, these horrible old bags got me on stage in front of 400 people and preyed on me, preyed the devil out of me, because I told these old bags who were like the queens of the church that everybody adored, with their diamond brooches and their fox fur stole hats and their lovely wraparound foxtails. And I saw Jesus in my room, Jesus and the angels physically in person in my room. And I couldn't wait to get to church and tell everyone. And do you know what those old bags did? They took me round the back, and I was a little runt of a skinny child. The first old bag stuck her thumbs under me here and lifted me off the ground in my face and said, "You evil, evil child," and dropped me on the cold tile floor. And the other old bitch, she pinched me so hard. And these were adult women. And in that moment, I'm like, well, I just need to not be on this planet because I can't win. I've literally seen Jesus and the angels. I'm telling you, you preach it, you say it's the most amazing thing, and now you're calling me a liar. Honestly, from 7 years old, I knew that adults are scared and they tell lies. And I've just been this strong since 7. And obviously a lot more fiercer now because I know what I know. I've seen what I've seen. But for me, I mostly focus on the physical. So physical evidence for me is key. You know, showing people how to use energy, but also stories. You want to hear a demonic story?
Oh yeah, well, no, listen, whoa, there's a lot to unpack from what you just said there, right? Because I just want to ask you quickly, what you said, the divine, we are all sparks, but you used that word God, right? And then you were talking about your vision as a child. What does that word mean to you, Dani? God? Like, how do you define
so
that?
In the Bible, which, you know, I've read a few stories in there, and obviously you had to, at church, you're force fed it, you know, Bible class, Bible study, and all that. You know, the Bible was written by men, and over years changed, and it's been written in different languages. There's a lot of distortion there and manipulation, and there's no two ways about it. Get offended, it's a reality, you know. But there's one line in the Bible that always resonated, and it's all I need. And that one line is, God is love. And for me, that's it. That energy, love, that energy. When people are falling apart at the feet of Jesus, which is a beautiful thing because they're feeling unconditional love. When people are feeling love for somebody else, when people are so touched and moved to emotion because of the love in them, but that's the love they came in with. Except we're programmed to feel it outside of ourselves. Imagine if we filled ourselves up with that and felt that essence of love, that essence of God. Because I believe whatever created humanity wasn't just a single bloke in the clouds. That's just preposterous. But this beautiful, loving energy that we are created from, that exists in us, is love and is energetic frequency. And that's why I say God or the creator or the divine, or there's so many different ways to quantify. But to answer your question, to me, God is love.
And love's a very interesting one because I think we romanticize a lot with love, right? And love can be one of the most destructive forces that some people experience love once and never get over it. And it's an interesting one because it's such a positive way of interpreting energy, but we need to face the reality of love sometimes, I think. And it doesn't even have to be through a traditional form of negativity, but the loss when you lose love and how trust can be betrayed. I think it's just an incredible concept that we came from love, but I think love is so all encompassing. an emotion or a feeling.
Yeah, we have to manage it, don't we? In these bodies, we're more than these bodies. If you take a photograph of someone's energy using a camera technology called Kirlian photography with a K, it sees through gamma rays and X-rays and infrared. You can actually photograph the electrical frequency, the output from the heart battery. The heart battery, the resonance time part is 3 times more powerful than the resonance in the brain, the energy around the brain. So you can photograph what people call an aura, electromagnetic field. With our energy frequency, our love frequency, it can't be contained in these avatars, in these bodies. It's way too big.
100%. I mean, I feel I would take a love bubble over a hate bubble any day of the week. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to ask you that, Dani, because like I say, you mentioned it, and with the mention of various religious individuals, I just wanted to just see where you stood there, and it was a great way of summing it up. Now, Dani, the dark side, okay? One more question actually. Because when you had that vision, right? Do you find that there is religion specific demons, right? So for example, if you have a strong belief in Jesus, do you have a better set of tools for going up a different set of demons, if that makes sense, or whatever we want to call them, the nasties, right? Or is it very much, as long as you have a higher power behind you, you can kind of battle any sort of demonic force? Or is there some that are religion specific, if you will? Does that make sense? That makes sense.
Well, I mean, again, you the way you ask questions so beautifully, there's like 10 layers to them. So what I'll do is, with my ADD brain, try and break it down a bit. So you're also talking about mimics. So there are entities that will mimic being, like, here's a good example. I've mentioned it several times, but I was a nursery nurse looking after a 2-month-old baby overnight because the parents' little girl that wasn't even 2 was in a coma, right? So they needed a emergency nursery nurse. That was me, to take care of this child. So little boy, so he's in his crib. I go in the room, in the bedroom, and I feel it, what I call it. I feel the shift in frequency. I feel the heaviness and the weight. Sometimes you get smells. Sometimes you see black flies. Sometimes it's just a knowing. I go in the baby's room and there is an angel standing over the baby, a physical, not in my mind, right there. And he had very short, dark hair, and he was standing over the baby like this. And I saw him for 1 second, and in the next second, I'm punching out and kicking at it because it was a demon. It was a demonic. Because what happens is this: you see something, the program clicks in. Oh, angel, lovely. Kowtow. Be subservient. That's the program. But the split second I sensed it, its frequency, I knew it had come to harm that baby. While everyone's being distracted over the little girl potentially not making it, it came for the little boy. And that's why I attacked it with such violence and would do to the ends of the earth anything like that. The minute I then put focus on what I'd just seen, I did the instant recall, which we can all do. And when I thought back in those seconds, what had I just seen? I had seen a male entity that was naked, standing over a little boy, pretending to be an angel. It had no wings. They don't always have wings. And it had no clothes on. And so again, once I punched out violently to protect the child, it left. It never came back. And I had slept with the baby in my room. But this is what you're referring to too. I'm a white woman, a white angel turns up. How lovely. No, it could be any religion, that any entity or demonic or imp or any kind of entity you want to label with a negative aspect to it, they will mimic what they know, and believe. So you have to be extra careful. So you have to learn to read with your heart. This is the seat of your intuition. This is where your soul resides. I do believe that personally. Everyone can have their own opinion, but this is my personal opinion from years of working this way. So reading the room, because once the mind gets involved, the yak, it's telling you all. That's where all the programs are loaded, all the neural pathways, all the calcified neural pathways of belief systems that we have developed since birth to this moment. So reading with your heart definitely is so that one angel there was what we call a mimic. So, but when the real Jesus came to my room, with a host of angels. They came through the wall. Everything always came through the wall. Like the house we lived in was horribly haunted. There were horrific, horrendous things. I put them in my book, Angels, Demons, and Aliens, stories from birth to now. It's full of things that happened in that haunted house in real life. And so it was so beautiful to see something benevolent come through the wall, and then looking, and they were all on the carpet. These angelics were all around something. And then they parted, and there he was in the center, beaming at me. And it was the most beautiful, life-saving moment where I knew it didn't matter what church told me. Jesus is a real person, but he was a fully realized person, right? He came fully realized, knowing that we've got all these incredible abilities, metaphysical abilities. And that's what he was trying to teach. And that's why they murdered him. Can't have that going out. Can't have him telling the people how powerful they are. You know, let's crucify him. That was the choice of the day, murder, unaliving, sorry.
Yes,
and so, yeah, it's a very touchy subject, because people that think they know, because they're so hardwired and programmed, they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to admit they're wrong. They don't want to even look at the fact that they might be wrong. So they put forth hatred, arrows, accusations. Someone like me back in the day would have been called a witch. No, I'm just a woman with my own mind and a voice, and I speak it as I see it. But, you know, so yeah, so there are mimics that we have to be careful of.
That's interesting. And when you mentioned words like imp and things like this, in the sort of demonic evil realm, is it kind of like the animal kingdom, where there's small little pesky things and then larger, more severe things?
Oh, yeah.
Could you give us some examples of the food chain, if you will?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So each of the different entities has a level of frequency. So the frequencies, instead of the angelics that go up and up and up and up, you know, cherubim, seraphim, archangel, etc., not necessarily in that order, but it's the opposite, right? It's the dark and the light. So with the demonic frequencies, you can feel them. So when I was on British television, that's funny because I'm living back in England. I've lived in America for so long, Hawaii and Costa Rica, but now I'm back in England. So I was on British television live like this to camera, and I would do lessons on like Madame Blavatsky or Edgar Cayce, or just educating people on things that they may not have known. But it's important for us to know the true spiritual heritage that we have as a collective species. The TV studios for this show, this psychic, clairvoyant, spiritual therapy show, was in the same building as a sex show. So you got all these women at certain times of day getting completely naked, bouncing around on beds with their phones going, call me, you know. And then in our theatre, in our studio, we had people like me, like singing a beautiful, like Om Namah Shivaya, beautiful Indian mantra, talking about Sanskrit, talking about the angels, advising on relationships and doing angel readings and whatever it was. And I never forget that one time I was using a pendulum. Now, everything we use as a tool of divination is going to work via our energy, via our intention. So these people that make these sweeping statements, oh, pendulums are evil. So Doris, sit down and be quiet, please, my love. Just get an education. So I had a pendulum, beautiful crystal. And for me, if it's sweet, and it's not a Ouija board, I would never do a Ouija board. Most dangerous thing. Get a gun. You know what I mean? So dangerous. Don't ever do a Ouija board. So dangerous. But the pendulum, so I was holding the pendulum, and I always knew not to 100% ever believe it. That was because I know outside forces can interrupt. So I'm holding it up, and in the corner of the studio, I saw these two black imps. They were about that big, pure black, little demonic frequencies. And they swung across the room, Ron, and whacked the pendulum that I was holding. I was like, bloody hell. I'd never seen it. So again, another physical representation. So now I know they exist. I'd never even heard the word imp. But when I saw them, something in me qualified, that's what that is. And I said to another woman there, oh my God, I saw these little imps. She went, oh yeah, I've seen them too. And they are attracted because of the high sexual frequency of the pornographic studio a few feet away from
Right.
you.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
really sad because, you know, over the years, in Victorian times especially, we used to call it parlor tricks. So you'd have a woman who would sit as a sitting medium. She would use her body energy more densely because the light on our planet is lighter now, but it was less light then. And so they would create something called ectoplasm from their own physical, metaphysical ability. And these were known as parlor tricks, and people would turn up and pay money and sit and watch the medium, you know, talk to the spirits or move the boxes or whatever. It was quite the thing back in the day. But now we don't use that energy. Ectoplasm is something that we really don't see that much of, although again, you can actually photograph it. But I got a bit distracted there.
I was just going to say, Dani, there's quite a lot of interesting photographs of the ectoplasm from throughout history, and
yeah,
it was always one of those ones that I always felt like there was parlor trick and reality, and you just didn't know which one was which. Do you know what I mean? I feel like these photos were the paranormal YouTube of the era, right? Where there's just so much of it. It's like, what would the real one even look like? You know? But let me pull one up, and this is kind of sort of this thing, right? Is this the one? Like this sort of thing?
Oh no. I mean, that's a good, I mean, it looks so fake, doesn't it? That kind of like a smoky essence, but there's lots of pictures like that. And there were women of the day mostly who were exposed for, you know, trying to make a living, and, you know, but as there are pretty much in every doctor's surgery, lawyer's office, you know, politician, career politician's life, it's all the same comparison. Yeah, so ectoplasm, I know we saw it highlighted in Ghostbusters as an entry level in for people to sort of understand what that was. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't.
Is this just shenanigans of the day? Is this just?
Well, that doesn't look real to me.
I don't even know what I'm looking at.
No, there were people that literally do this. Yeah, no, this was a reality. And the thing is, back in those days, in Victoriana, let's say Edwardian Victoriana times, it was much harder for a working medium to physically use her body. But these women were trailblazers for the rest of us who speak out on metaphysics. But like I said, the light isn't as heavy as it was, so there's much less work needed. But I'll tell you what, anyone, and I don't care who you are and how famous you are, and I'm going to speak my mind. And don't worry, Sean, I'm not going to say any naughty words. But I remember seeing a TV show in England one time years ago, and there's a paranormal investigation. This drives me insane. So there's a young boy part of the camera team, and this big old fat psychic woman walking along, you know, and she's trying to feel into energy. But the negative entity went for the lowest hanging fruit. He went for the person that was terrified. And that's where you get in trouble with spirits, guys. When you are scared, you're on the back foot straight away. You've opened your battery, you are vulnerable, and they can zippity-doo-dah, they can take from you, they can try and possess you, and that's a real thing. So this poor kid is against the wall screaming because he can feel an entity trying to enter him. Right? And this stupid woman, this old psychic that's supposed to have all this experience, she's going, use me, use my body. I'm like, you silly old bag. Why on earth would you ever do that? You don't ever let anything into your body unless you want to be possessed. And I mean angels and fairies and deities. You do not let them in the vessel. And that, I will make a statement of absolute clarity and validation. Don't let them in, guys. You let them in, that door never shuts. Oh, you can protect yourselves. Oh, you can do rituals. I've seen it too many times on my path, my long path. You can always spot them. There's always an opening. And if I can see them, then the demonics can see them too. So
I feel like it's time to flip it on their head. I feel like it's time to learn how to take possession of them. I think that's the next stage, right? I mean, well, there's always we get taken over, right? We get taken over.
Yes, because we don't have the tools, because religion largely has stopped it and told us to go through an intermediary, which is a lie and false information. It keeps you trapped. We have to know that we can go straight to source. We can do whatever we want. We can, and we've got to be careful of the humans in our lives that tell us what we can and can't do. I'm sorry, no one's ever telling me what I can and can't do, partner or not partner. No, that's a partnership. That's two people or whatever conversing together. But you don't take someone's thoughts or belief systems and try and force yours on them. That's not the journey. But if you go into the mindset of conflict because of the rage, that I agree with, the rage and the things I've seen and do, it's just beyond, rage making. But if we go into that mindset, we're doing the same. It's still warfare, isn't it? You have to make them not important enough to hate. You can't engage in that frequency in the way that we would want to. They are worthless nothingnesses. They are worse than the lowest of the low of the nothing, and they need to be viewed that way. So if you are frightened, you have lost. I have so many experiences. I just had two in that big haunted retreat boot camp place I was staying at, I told you. But let me give you one. A physical man I knew who had a demon attached to him. So this is when I was living in California. So I meet this guy, he seems really nice. I met him at a bar called the Coyote Bar, which is always live band in Encinitas, California. And we agree, he lived around the corner from me, which was nice. I went over and we were sitting chatting in the garden, getting to know each other. And he seemed to get really drunk, but he was drinking water. That was my first, like, ding, 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 ding. And then when he kept going into his garage. And when you open the garage door, it says door opening, door opening. So I'm like, okay, has he got a bladder problem, this guy? Anyway. So then had a nice evening, just there for a couple of hours. Went the next night because let's come around and watch a movie. I said, okay. So I'm over there. We're sitting on the sofa and watching a movie. And all of a sudden, I felt a presence. And I look across at the stairs and there is a humongous demon, and he's wearing a really weird looking hat. He's wearing a robe and he is glaring at me. So I see it and I'm like, oh God. So I said F off straight away in my head to it. And I lost you. You just disappeared. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Your phone's ringing. Don't worry. Yeah, we're still here.
Let me. Right then. Okay, but
well, Dani tackles that, everybody. Like and subscribe, and please share this out. And Dani, are you there?
No, I'm here. I can't. Can you see me?
Yeah, you're all good. Don't worry. Just take a minute, Dani, to when somebody calls, it will shut everything down. If you need to drop in and out again, if your system has crashed or anything, just do that. I'll just waffle until you get back, mate.
Okay. Sorry, mate. No, I can't find you now. Well, let me finish this story, and I'm going to jump out and jump back in again, okay? All right. Wicked. So interesting when I was talking about the demon, though, that happened. So I see it, and I think, well, I just met this guy, and I'm who I am anyway. So, I don't worry about if people don't believe me or not. And I said, you got a demon standing over there. And he went, what? And this is a huge, giant man. I said, there's a demon standing right there by the stairs, glaring at me. He went, are you for real? I said, oh, I'm for very real. And he goes, okay, there's a demon standing by my chair and by the stairs. Yeah. What does he want? I said, well, it wants your soulmate. And he went, oh my God, did that shut him up? He went, well, what do you mean? I said, it wants your soul. I said, it's trying to scare me to get me to leave, which I'm not going to, because, that's what I mean about making them less important. And anyway, he said, I knew it. He goes, I knew it. He goes, there's always something. I could always feel it. He goes, I never knew what it was. I said, it's a really big senior demon, boy, and it wants your soul. Anyway, I left soon after that. And I thought, well, I'll probably never see him again. Anyway, he called me. He goes, please come tomorrow morning. I've got to tell you something. I said, okay. I go over to his house. He sits down in front of me and he says to me, I am a full-blown alcoholic. He goes, I drink all day, every day. He goes, you noticed I was a bit kind of squiggly. He goes, I said I was drinking water. I'm drinking vodka. He goes, I go in my garage, the garage door that goes, garage door opening. And he goes, that's what I'm doing. I'm hitting the hooch, the heavy stuff, all day long. I keep it in a drawer in my garage. I'm like, okay. I said, well, I can never date you. I said, I will not date an alcoholic. I said, but I'll be your friend. I'll be your friend. Anyway, a few nights later, he's like, I need help. He goes, I've got this big meeting tomorrow. And I'd got to know him a bit more over those few days, and really sweet guy, but drinking himself to death. I said, you're in between worlds, mate. It wants you. You've got to be really careful. So he goes, can you help me? He goes, I've got a meeting in LA tomorrow. He goes, please, I don't know who else to ask. I'm so embarrassed. I've drunk too much. Can you drive me in the morning? Can you come over? I said, yeah, I'll come over. So I went over. Can you still see me? Because I cannot see you at all.
Yeah, you're all good. I can see you.
Okay, so I go over, and then we go to sleep. So I'm sleeping in my clothes on top of the bed. We've got to get up at silly o'clock at like 4 a.m. He wants to sleep to sober up to get to this big meeting. And I'm laying there, and he's asleep, and the door opens physically, and this bloody huge demon comes walking in across the end of the bed, didn't even look at me, with all these little weird looking demonics behind it. They were really odd looking, like they were all in these little kind of round robes of round headed things walking behind him. It went round the side of the bed, over to him, grabbed his hand, yanked him up into a sitting position. And this guy was still asleep. And this guy said, oh. And the demon yanked him, and the guy got up and followed the demon out the room, down the stairs. And I am sitting up going, oh my God. And then I heard the garage door opening, and I heard the drawer open and close. He comes back up the stairs. He gets back in bed. He laid down in his sleep. I'm going to leave a little bit out of this story, but the next morning I said to him, well, your demon came last night. I said, and he literally pulled you up in a sleeping position, and you followed him downstairs to the garage, and you opened the drawer and you came back up, and he went, oh my God. He went, oh my God. He goes, I can never understand why there's never any alcohol. He goes, I leave it in the drawer. It's half full some nights, but when I come in the morning, it's gone. I said, it's making you drink yourself to death. Now, I hope people hear that story, Ron, because some need to. The alcohol, the spirits, the vodka, the gin, and others, drinks too. It takes you out your body. It gives you an unconscious level where the demonics or whatever it wants, it can take you over. We could go a lot deeper on that too, but I'm going to jump out, and then I'm going to jump back in, okay?
Yeah, no problem, mate. No problems. All right, so we're live with Dani Henderson this morning. She'll be joining us tomorrow morning as well, diving into the realities of the demon world. She's trying to figure out how to. She's got it. Right, no bother. Oh, hang on a second. Are you back? Can you see me?
Yeah. Hello.
hello. So, I mean, that's quite an intense story, Dani. I mean, I think for a lot of people, I mean, I understand. I've managed to train myself to react different and not make that reaction fearful, right? But I think for a lot of people, the concept of any sort of encounter like that and not being able to show fear, what's your advice for people who, because you know the public, there's a lot of people who, I mean, I've spoken to people you're seeing shadow people throughout the day. There's so many individuals who are looking for answers, right? Is there some go-to?
Yes, of course. So many things. I mean, you can't be the good old F off. You just can't. It is such a good disarmer. It has its own frequency that emits from you, depending on the force you choose to use when saying such vulgarity.
Can I ask, is that why they're called curse words? Right? Because, and this is going to sound really dumb, but there was a South Park episode years ago, right? There was a South Park episode years ago, and the popularity of the swearing on television, right, brought forth the apocalypse because of the use of the words of curse, right? Obviously, that's South Park, but it got me thinking, because why are they called curse words? Like, what do you know? I mean, I imagine you're gonna hit us with something here, but when you said that the F word had its own frequency, I just wondered if that was something to do with that. Sorry to derail you.
It's very powerful. Just want to check. The thread, this chat just popped up now that I got back in. So I don't know if someone's being rude and needs a bit of a clip in the chat there. I'm sure the mods are on it, but it looks like someone's being rude. I haven't found the comment yet, but obviously we don't tolerate that. Casting, that's what we call spelling.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've just come back into the chat, it will probably load everything and then start deleting it in the order that it was deleted. But
right. We
don't mess about it. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I know so many people know this, but it's still good to go over, the information source so we really get it. But spelling is our words are the most powerful things. We bring reality into being by the words that we use. But here's the good news. The people that put out wrongness, the people that spew evil, the people that mean to do harm, the most uneducated people that mean to do harm, they don't realize that when they emit from their own battery, from their own body frequency, that energy will go out and it will come back to the source of origin. It will come back to you. And when it does, it will have gathered up energy frequencies that were matching to go to harm the person. So we need to be very careful. So I named a pedo on yesterday, 2 days ago, an actual person that needed publicly, and there's proof and everything. And I sat and I kind of prayed on it a bit and thought, Dani, doing that, it's assassinating someone's soul. It will come back to you. But it is absolutely true. And it is shutting down an evil that needs to be addressed and shut down. You know what I mean? That's a really extreme example of saying something that potentially energy can come back. But you really have to measure, justify. But people who are recruited to hate other people, I've
spent 10 years exposing people. What is it you're saying here? Right? I've literally made a career out of soul destroying individuals who soul destroy. Right? So what are you saying? Because to me, if any of the spiritual realm criticizes the destruction of that mindset towards children, then it doesn't sound like they're on the right team to me.
No.
If I'm being honest. So I'm just letting the whole spiritual world know I ain't done yet. So it's interesting because a lot of people used to say to me, do you not feel bad about what you're doing? And I'm like, well, no, they're PDF files. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I've never lost a wink of sleep. Never once. Never batted an eyelid. And never lost a wink of sleep.
I mean, it's a hell of a responsibility, Ron, when you say a name, a hell of a responsibility, to them, because that's going to come on you. That's why spelling and cursing and gossiping and putting people's names out. So we have to be very mindful and accept that there's going to be a comeback. And we just have to be able to manage or monitor what that potential comeback, might be. On levels of demons, also, just to briefly mention, because obviously on this channel and others, there's been an awful lot of conversation about Diddy. Let's just say that he is a low, there's possession there. Absolutely, 100%. It is so obvious. So some of these people who sold their souls for higher powers, they negotiate with demonic entities. Some of them they're in direct contract with. Agoroth. There's so many hierarchical demons, like there are hierarchical angels. So some of these people are very aware of making direct contracts with these hierarchical demons. And what happens is the demons use their physical bodies. They use their physical bodies to smoke, to drag, to, it's important to preface that when you look at someone like the Diddy boy, let's say, who's been put on a pedestal by others way higher than him and way, way behind him, you'll never know their names. You'll never know their names. That we, again, have been programmed to worship or celebrate people like him, whose music is absolute twash, rubbish. Man, the other bloke with the funny looking hair like rat's tails, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. The one who gets accused with him, Beyonce's husband. Him. Yeah, Muppet, yeah. Like, what? Go away, you silly people. But anyway,
Honestly.
we've got to stop being impressed because they're not even the top layer. That's a joke.
Yeah, Dani, luckily I've been preaching this exact genre of topic for years. And it's very true. I call it it's in their eyes, it's peasant level. So if us, the peasants to them, have eyes on, that's peasant level. So presidents, politicians, the diddies, Hollywood actors, but it's the very, very one level up. Maybe the CEOs, right, that run these people. We get to see their faces, but that's where it ends, yo. Like, that is it. The upper echelons, the bloodlines, the people who've been doing this for centuries, the hidden knowledge that is carried out with these individuals to keep the 1% in control of everything is wild. It's wild. The cabal, as we call it.
Right, I want to refer to a book. Now, this is for those who want to do some serious study. And they're not very big, these books. He's got like 4 or 5. I've got like 3 of them. James Kurth Barker. This is deconstructing the Illuminati, which is basically what humanity is doing. Humanity is taking down person by person, career politician by career politician, etc., deconstructing the scummery of the system that has owned us. This guy, Kurth Barker, was, as a little boy, messed with by a satanic. And what they like to do when they have a child, and but this is the one, pull up this one, cannibalism and the higher depth satanic, because I want to make a difference here. I want to precise a difference between cannibalism and, a higher depth satanic or a higher depth Luciferian. So Kurth Barker, when he was in this horrendous forced relationship with this male, the male would make him use a girl name and make him dress as a girl. And this is a very common procedure when you're breaking the soul of a child who's in a situation they can't get out of. And people make the mistake of assuming that it's going to be, non-aristocratic children, non-wealthy children. No, there is no difference. It happens to them all on all levels. Trailer situations, basement situations, to palaces around the world. And so he had to live mostly as a girl, wear girl shoes, grow his hair, be taken advantage of in every possible, imaginable, unthinkable way, and had no power. Now, a friend of mine was also treated the same. His name is Tony Rodriguez. He has been on this channel, and he was taken and used in this way, also given a girl's name, taken by a billionaire who lives on an island in Seattle. These people are out there. This is no joke. And Tony Rodriguez openly speaks to the things that he has gone through and recovered. And he is a remarkable human being, Tony Rodriguez. You should get him on, Ron. He's just so special. But he's also been reading this book too. So it has many different revelations of a child, now a man, who has lived the life of being used in a Luciferian or satanic occult situation. Now, there's a huge difference to your little, drinking the red juice. Let's say, I don't know what words to use, Ron, on Sean's channel.
Drinking the claret.
Drinking the claret from little ones. Now, a lot of the more senior or adept satanics, they're not interested in that part. They're not interested in the cannibalism part. They're interested in the power, how much money they can own, how many countries can they take, how many governments can they run, how many off-planet craft can they whatever. So there's a difference. So the little scumbags like your Diddies and your the dirty little ones like that, they're the ones more likely to take on. You mentioned Abramovich earlier. And, her spirit cooking, hideous. They floated that out to see whether we could actually accept it. Of course, we don't. They float a few things out like that to see whether or not. They test to see how far along they think they've captured us. But I think they know by now what time it is. and that, the old ways, the old guard is dead and dying. So people mustn't be afraid, but they do need to be educated. And I would recommend this book. It is a difficult read. And I've watched his videos online, and he writes very well, but you can't believe the things he writes about. Going to a house with these two very wealthy sisters who are partaking in human flesh as part of their lunch, amongst other meats, and just awful, just awful. But when people say, oh, it's not possible, it doesn't happen, yes, it does. And when people say, oh, just say in the name of Jesus, I'm sorry, I've tried that and it didn't work. And you people that have also tried that, it hasn't worked for them. We need other tools as well. So that, like I said earlier, the F off word, brilliant, that's great. Now, saging, I've got some sage here. Why are we pushed away from this, Ron? Why are people told that this is evil? That's like saying a tree is evil. This is ancient technology.
It is really odd how much this stigma is stuck on a bundle of sage. Okay. Now I will say I use what the hell is it called? It's the wood that smells like coconut. I can't remember what it's called.
Palo Santo.
Yes, I use that because me and sage do not mix well at all. I don't know if I'm doing the wrong thing or lighting the wrong end, but I'm the kid who gets given the sacrificial wafer and then throws up in church. Like that, I'm the equivalent of that kid. And yeah, Palo Santo works great, man. I love it. Absolutely. That's what I use for all my cleansing stuff. So other than, does anyone else find the smell of sage really messed up? I must be doing it wrong, right? Because
it's an acquired taste. It depends. You've got white sage, you've got different blended sages, but so it's ancient technology. But the combination of this, the earth gives us what we need. When we light this, if you were to light this, I watched an experiment, a dump in India where little kids are scrabbling around to try and find something to eat, starving to death. And people came and they saged one end of this dump and they measured the air quality. 6 weeks later, they go back. It was still disinfecting in that area. It's very powerful, ancient technology. There for a reason, friends. There for a reason.
All right. So just put up with the smell.
Mantras are important. Now, this is one of the ancient Sumerian clay tablets here. And this is multi thousands of years old. Obviously, it's a replica. And this has the story of the original flood of Noah. It goes way down because there's so many floods and all religions, all the same stories carry through. I think people are aware of that now. Best film ever to watch on that is Peter Graham's The Zeitgeist, the first one, 2006 or 7, Zeitgeist. Watch that original film. It's all about the 9/11 inside Zeitgeist, the first one though. They're trying to distract us, But what a lot of the kind of demonic entities, spirits, earthbounds, people that have died and don't want to go to the light because they're scared of being judged, they're not going to be prepared for people to use an ancient mantra of protection. I mean, let's face it, they're not that bright. And just because you're dead, it doesn't suddenly make you a genius. Do you know what I mean? Also a revelation. And so this is beautiful. And I use one very strong, and I've used it with Beverly Rhodes. I love me some Beverly Rhodes because she's another seasoned, adept, spiritual, has so many different experiences and horrendous. Some of the things in this book that poor lady has had to endure. I'm so glad that she's, she does what she does now. She's amazing. I love you, Beverly Rhodes. But now I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So I've said this on her show as well. So the mantra is Gigim Hul Bara, and Gigim is Gigim. Gigim Hul is Xhul, as in alcohol, which means spirit. So Gigim Hul Bara. And what that means in ancient Sumerian...
Spell it slowly for me.
Okay, Gigim, Gigim, Gigim.
Gigim.
Oh, sorry. Gigim, Gigim. Oh my God, we've got 2 ADDs here. 2 dyslexic ADDs trying to spell. That's ridiculous.
Gigim.
Yes. And then Hul is X-H-U-L, hul, as in spirit, alcohol, X-H-U-L.
X-H-U-L, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Then bara, B-A-R-R-A, bara.
Right.
So it's gigim hul bara. And that is a multi-layered frequential mantra that carries the weight of millennia, like ancient words, ancient Sumerian. And so some of the dimwit earthbounds, and some of the demonics of different levels of ability, like I said, just because they're dead doesn't mean they're bright. They're not expecting that to come down the timeline at them. So that's a really good one. Gigim hul bara. And saging, salt, Himalayan salt round the bed, under the bed, throw a Bible under the bed. Oh my God, that Bible is so full of magic. It has so much power, so much frequency in it. Now, I've told, the truth is, I believe it's very manipulated. It's not the word of God. It's the word of man who's downloaded different stories over the years, and people get offended. People create wars on this book. All I will say is you can choose to be offended. It's not my intention to offend you. But if I do, I'm okay with that as well, because I've got a job to do, and that's give information and truth to help people. So that's what I'm focused on. But the Bible, the magic in that book is incredible. When I'm coaching parents, let's say, I'm like, chuck a Bible under his bed, sage the Bible, chuck it under the bed. You'll see a change. Demonics do not like the Bible. Entities and spirits do not like the Bible. I mean, I imagine you could throw a Bhagavad Gita or a Mahabharata, Indian, or a book on the Vedas or the Upanishads under a bed, and it would have the same effect. I've no doubt. But that's more of an Indian Hindu energy.
I think it's the years of belief and forward projection into these books and into these words like Bible or other religious texts or religious symbols. Is it the supercharging over hundreds and hundreds of years that make them such prolific tools against these negative forces?
Yeah, the intention, the power, the truth. Truth is always going to have a higher frequency, because ultimately the species that we are more attuned to love than we are to hate. It's like when you look at the mathematical breakdown, you imagine 5,000 humans that want a peaceful, loving, beautiful planet and to thrive and to be happy and not be under the stress, to 50 tosspots that are in those most senior positions of power. This is how powerful we are. And so there's a saying, greatest energy wins. So it's like in that studio, right? When I was doing the British television work and that live TV show, the greatest energy in that place was sexual pornographic, because the sex show ran 24/7. And there were like 20 girls bouncing around on beds. And there was like one spiritual person at a time talking to camera. And that's how come, even with all the love in our little studio, those imps were able to come in, knock the pendulum out my hand and that kind of thing. But greatest energy wins. But what you believe and what you hold in your vessel wins. So if you are someone living in fear and you're terrified and you're anxious, you've probably got some company in your space that's creating that anxiety. So you need to sit and feel that love and power yourself up, and recognize that, every soul is a goal, unfortunately. But if you choose to go into fear, you're going to be on a sticky wicket. So choose love. Don't choose fear. Don't choose anxiety. And yes, you do have a choice. People think they don't, but they do. It's so important.
I'm okay. So I'm just having this weird realization here, Dani, right? Because you talk about love, and when we talk about what was going on in that studio, right? And the F word, right? Which probably means would work well in what was going on in that studio, right? But then you talk about there's this saying of two people, and they're in love and they make love and all of this stuff, right? And the similarities between that act and what was going on in the studio are similar, but the intent and the mindset behind it is obviously very, very different, right? And are the two different acts, even though on, you know, it's still the same thing, if you know what I'm saying. But one of them is for business and one of them's for in the name of love, shall we say. Are you saying that the difference of that intent is what can attract the negativity? Or is it just the act itself in general?
Intention. What powers up your battery inside? What powers up your life force energy? It's intention, it's thought, it's the thing that we think about the most. You know, the protection that comes is the, oh, goodness me, I hope I don't lose you again.
The ringtone demon, Dani, it got me. It got me. It got me.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, intention. I just saw someone, okay, because we were going this way, someone wrote the word daemon, important. When I was talking about Socrates and Aristotle and Plato earlier, the three kind of Greek scholars that people tend to follow, and then it goes to the Greek mystery schools, the Egyptian mystery schools, where they held back all this natural metaphysical ability from us, and they shouldn't have done that. That was the wrong thing to do, you know, but now obviously people like me are putting that right. But the word demon didn't exist. That was created to cause confusion. Correct. It used to be spelled daemon, D-A-M-O-N. A daemon was more of an angelic frequency. Okay. Sorry, I think
that's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah. Sorry. Just take me off screen for 1 second. I've got someone at my...
No problem. No problem, mate. All right. You're all good, Dani. No one can see you. You're all good, mate. Oh, man. Put one in the side chat if anyone expected a massive demon to appear in Dani's room there and for her to start getting, like, proper just on its ass. But it's probably just one of her clients. So, I mean, it's fascinating, right? I mean, when we hear the... Hang on a second. There we go. You're back, Dani. You okay?
I'm so sorry. I have to go. I'm actually driving someone to the hospital and they were here at my door. I didn't realize. I've lost track of time because we were only going to do an hour. So, well, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11.
Tomorrow. Wicked.
All right.
Love it, Dani. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. See you soon, Dani. Thank you for being here. Right. So here's the thing. You know, when it comes to Dani Henderson, Beverly Rhodes, Azria, all these people that just have so much knowledge to give. I always like to see it as a class, right? And I don't know why I'm so close to the screen, right? So we learned today about the smells, right? The shift in energy, this feeling that we can get. Dani talked about evil forces using things like alcoholism. And also, I don't think Dani was saying alcoholism is caused by demons. But certainly in the case where Dani was speaking about, you can see how it's a very easy way for a dark force to facilitate the obtaining of your soul through your self-unaliving through alcohol, you know? And it's kind of interesting, you know? It really, really is. Because I speak all the time about the modern version of demons and what all these things mean to me. And when we talk about Pan and we talk about things with hoofs, we talk about fire pixies and entities and all of this, which we've seen, even down to my beloved fairies, right? Let me just bring this up again because one second, everybody. Here's a little rascal that was captured floating past my head. You know, and all of these things, if you were to pick up the most recent copy and adaptation of one of the three big religions in the world, the three you're allowed to pick from, right? All of these things fall under heresy, witchcraft, demonic forces. But for centuries, we walked hand in hand with these things, these wonderful creatures of this wonderful planet, or whatever the hell it is, whatever, right? And having this understanding that we have creatures and wonderful, and here's Azria's picture of this little fire guy as well. Who we've all sort of collectively decided that this is a fire imp that is bursting on the toilet. Okay. Like absolutely bursting on the toilet. This guy is like, oh, great. This is when you've decided to take a picture of me. Do you know what I mean? And just to sort of make that, just to sort of hit home what here is actually, here's it superimposed in a toilet, bursting on the toilet, right? But look at the little guy. It's crazy. And, you know, again, a few hundred years ago, Azria, me, all of you in the side chat, we're all getting tied to poles and we're all going up like birthday cakes. All right. And, you know, you guys all know that I'm not here for all the white, everything's got to be positive thing. Like I'm if life was like that, I would be like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And what happened to Adria? You mean Azria? Azria's all good, mate. Azria's cool. She'll be joining us again on Thursday. But this, what I was saying is, this is one of Azria's photographs that she sent in. Oh, not that she sent in, that we had on one of the shows. Azria's taken some absolutely bonkers photographs. Like absolutely bonkers photographs of little fairies, of fire imps, of faces in trees. It's wild. Yeah, you're all good, Helen, mate. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's the mouse. This. Oh, yeah. Let me fix it, man. I need to get a mouse pad. It's the noise gate. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, you went and ruined it for yourself. Now you've got to go and be in timeout for preaching your madness. All right. Gee whiz. Same with the Jesus crew as well. Don't be coming in here and telling anyone needs anything. Or you'll get treated the same as freaking that guy. Yeah. So, like I say, Dani will be back tomorrow. The insight that she brings on this topic is phenomenal. And tomorrow we're going to delve into some more of Dani's stories and continue on this journey about educating ourselves on the darker forces, how to protect ourselves from them. Dani's taught us this mantra, which I've got, and I've got it saved. Let me just save this so that. Dani also talks about smells, Himalayan salts, and I'm putting together a document after each of these interviews. I'm compiling all the stuff that Azria and also Beverly's told me, and some other conversations that I've had with people behind the scenes. And I'm going to start compiling stuff up for the website and the Discord. Now, the next show today is we're delving back into Dr. Fia and Julia. That'll probably be happening at about, it won't be right after this by any means. It'll be this afternoon. And I know this evening, Sean, I do believe, has Bob Marley's daughter coming on to talk about Diddy and his soul, I do believe. You'll be seeing me on that live as well for a little bit. And tomorrow we are back with Dani in the morning. And looking forward to it. It will be at the earlier time than advertised. It will be at 11 o'clock. I'm going to change the time on that now. And then on Thursday, I've got a very special episode back to the Cabal to finish off the week for the last 2 days. We've also got the Surviving Life podcast. I've just been sent Emil's contact details to see what is going on there, and hopefully I'll have answers for me and Samson's show, which I do believe is going pre-recorded, and I'll keep you all posted about that. Now tomorrow, where is it? 11:45. Edit. 11 o'clock. Wicked. Right, so that's all edited for everyone. Oh God, LinkedIn, you are the bane of my life on this goddamn software. There we go. Yeah, get Emil on. He's so funny. He's so funny. But if you guys have got any questions, you want to have a little chit chat or whatever, I'm happy to do that. Let me just check at this the boss. Hang on a second. Yo, I'm live just now. I can't listen to your message. Did I not? If I had to redo the thumbnail from yesterday. Wait, did you not get it? Did I not send it yesterday? Hang on. Oh God, ADHD is just, it's so cool, man. It's so cool when your boss is asking you for stuff that you're done. I'm pretty sure I sent it though. But maybe I haven't. Or maybe he wants something changed. He needs to update his message. Where is it? There it is. I'm sure I sent it. I'm obviously losing my mind. There'll be more to this. There'll be more to this. It'll make perfect sense. It's usually my user error that's the issue here. But he'll get back to me. We'll clear this up. What else? You sent something to Sean yesterday on the live. Yes, I did. But did I click send? Oh, Danny's away. She was here for the first hour, mate. We'll be back tomorrow with Danny, though. Don't worry. I'm diagnosed to the max. Yeah, that would be my X-Men power, is like undiagnosed issues. You did not bother with the question then. Hang on. I have a question. Why would any superior spirit being bother with any human? We are nobodies and are. Oh man, homegrown. Sit down. Let's go on a journey together. So that is the most simplistic and almost outrageous analogy of life. Okay, forget about all the physical stuff. It's a nonsense. All right, like the soul, the energy, the balance, and your being. Okay, it's not a physical thing. Okay, they are the harbingers of our souls, and it all resonates around this. No, I don't think it's disrespectful at all, mate. No, you're nah, absolutely not disrespectful in the slightest. I don't think. Let me put your question up. Let me see. There you go. I have a question. Why should any superior spirit? Well, here's the thing, right? When you say superior spirit, that's one thing, right? So, to me, a spirit is an essence of a person whose power has passed over, right? And there's a terminology thing for me, right? So, a superior spirit to me is more of an entity, right? Because when we pass over, right? Yeah, I would say God is a very misleading concept. Nah, I don't know if I would say. Well, I mean, maybe. Maybe. I think there's. It's so. I used to think things were predetermined. Who said that? Dream space. But do you know what I think now? I think every possible outcome exists relative to itself. And we're always on a path that changes. It's weird. That's what I think anyway. Now, where was our wonderful little skeptic here? Okay. So The only thing that the bad energies want is your soul. The only thing the good energies want is your soul. But the thing is, we've been so accustomed to believing that when we pass over, that's the end. The three big religions teach us to go to your your heavenly space, but we know we can come back if we choose to come back as another person or reincarnate or whatever. It's the same spirit, it's the same soul. It's just a different husk, if you will. And when people refer to old souls, when people refer to, oh, you're so knowledgeable, or you're this or you're that, that is the residual lifetimes that have been spent coming back to obtain residual and forgotten knowledge. So the older your soul is, okay, the less likely you are to be susceptible to a lot of these things. It's people who keep coming, that stop coming back, and we stop having these old souls. And now we're in a world where there's this forgotten knowledge where somehow 1% owns 99% and they're not up to something. And we've got an evil so strong that is persistent in a way that it seems like no one or fewer people are prepared until recently, man, until the awakening. Until all of this realization in people's minds that witches, psychics, whatever, the freaking X-Men, Marvel in real life, whatever, the Jedis. That's just us. It's interesting when we put labels on things. I think a lot of people in life want to be part of something, and labels assist with that. Oh, I'm a pagan. I'm a witch. I'm a psychic. I'm an off-worlder. Are you? Or are we just all the same thing, getting labels slapped on it for whatever reason? Right? Because that's the way I'm beginning to feel. Right? That's the way I'm beginning to feel. Because I almost feel like by having the titles slapped on stuff, it's creating this segregation mindset that if you're not that thing, you can't have that thing. But we are that thing, right? It sounds mad, right? And I don't say this online because it sounds mental. But Mac, where's Mac? He's in the side chat, right? He asked me the other day about Magick, right? And I can't remember what he asked me, but my answer is always the absolute truth. And I'm like, Mac, I think he was asking me where I learned some stuff. And I'm like, Mac, I said, I didn't learn anything. He says, I am the magic, Mac, right? And he was like, what? I'm like, I am the magic. Do you not understand? Like that, I'm going to be the crazy guy, right? Preaching that sentence and looking like a lunatic, right? I am the magic. You are the magic. We're all the crazy guy on the internet, right? So you got to watch how you frame it, right? But that's kind of it. Right? And you've got all this other cool stuff that goes with it. The Druid guy, the Dani Henderson guy, the Beverly Rhodes guy, the Azria guy. Like, it's just like, whoa. But do you know how I look at it, right? Cooking, right? How many different forms of cooking there is? How many different dishes? Cuisines, right? That's how I view all of these people. It's like chefs with recipes and interesting ways of putting things together and trying this bit of freaking fusion here and a little whisper of that. It's just amazing. And there's nothing wrong. Here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with having an identity that reflects your impression of who you are. And if it just so happens you want to slap on, black lipstick and crazy, hats and clothes, whatever, do you? Okay, I'm in some weird lumberjack era right now, so I embrace it. But I've always felt really uncomfortable. Like, I'm so excited about the remote viewing that we're doing on a Thursday. It's so exciting. But I think it's the word remote viewing that was the most scary thing for me. I couldn't possibly do that, right? Yeah, can. Yeah. Hell yeah. We all can. I tell you what, man, we're all going to harness this. and then we're all going to do some of this. And then some bad people are going to have a really regretful weekend. Okay? All right? So I completely just went off on one there, homegrown. Millions of years of experience on their belts. Well, yeah, but millions of years is our thumb. What is it? What is millions of years? That is a made up construct that we made up. Do you see what I mean? This is where it gets, this is where go and take 2 paracetamol now, homegrown, because this is where the headaches start kicking in me, right? So we're assuming that time is relative in this other realm based off of our known physics and science. What if time in this world is the equivalent of walking further out into an ocean? You know, if we just walk over here, we're 1,000 years in the past. We walk over here, oh, now we're 30 years in the future. It's so, we've just got to stop assuming we know anything. Oh, God. Do you know what worries me is that's the quote that for some reason, that's the quote that I'll like if I go missing, right, tomorrow, and this is the last piece of footage of me, right, that's going to be the quote that goes out on the internet. I can't even remember what it was. The ADHD's already taken over. I can't remember. But we don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure I know what happens when I turn the light switch on, but I've had that explained to me, right? Wires and that, right? Sure. But I really have to take a lot of there's a lot of life that you're just taking people's words for, right? And science, do you know how much of science is theoretical? There's a whole thing of science just called theoretical science, right? So for me, just do not try and fit yourself in a peg, in a hole, because you're already in the hole. I wish I could speak smarter, right? Because the whole analogy blew my mind away when I realized it the other day. We're all sitting here going, where do I fit in? You're already in the hole. Right? You're in it. Stop trying to fit in it. You're in it. Honestly, these I've got to stop saying things so loud on the internet. Like, what is happening, Elisa? I love that. Thank you. What religion are you? I'm Ron. How mad is this? Ron, for 30 odd years. So Helen, if we're having a conversation and this is like 29-year-old Ron, and you're like, well, I am super Jesus crew, I would be like, awesome. I respect that you believe that. And I mean, I wasn't an atheist. I wasn't religious. I was just like, blind faith? What? Blind faith. Choose a book and you believe in it. What, mate? So then had a very profound religious experience. And it completely changed everything. Completely changed everything. Sat in the woods with my dog. I did a lot of wild camping. I just wanted to make camping videos. That's why I came to YouTube, right? So I'm sitting there with a very irresponsibly built bonfire in this wooded area. It wasn't dangerous, but it was unnecessary, right? But it was big, right? It was big. And you know, it's different if you pile up all of the okay. So you've got your foundation of your fire, you've got your big main mega logs that you burn and you push in as the fire gets bigger, and you've got a whole bunch of other logs, and then you chuck on a whole pile of like spindly dry crap, and the whole thing just goes straight up into a big bonfire. Chuck all that on. 10 minutes and that'll all be gone, and you'll just be left with all those embers on top of all the big bits of wood burning away. Brilliant, right? I'm sitting there doing the fire gazing as you do in the woods, right? Just staring into the flame. And I'm sat there. I feel like nothing has happened. There's nothing odd has happened. I'm just sitting here looking in the fire. And I look up, and stood at a tree is a dude with one eye, and he looked like he was doing a Gandalf the Grey cosplay, right? And all he does is this, and he turns and he walks away. And as he's turning to walk away, I basically try to get up to follow this individual, because it was like this calling. It was this. Looking back, don't follow people you don't know in the woods. First of all, that would be the first thing. Like, looking back, getting up and following the man in the woods. No, right? So as I'm getting up, I do this. I just go wallop, and it's like I've fallen about this far onto my back, and I sit up, and the fire's gone. The fire has burnt down to nothing. Okay, now we're talking an hour and a half at least to burn out this unattended fire. I mean, there's no explanation. So I've taken that as I went on a journey with my God. My firstborn son is called Odin after this experience. I have a symbol on my hand that reflects that. I have these runes that reflect that. And ever since that day, I've been taking. There's tenants. You see, the problem with the Vikings and that, right? And this is what these gods are famous from, right? Is they wrote nothing down. Nothing. Oh, let's write a poem though. Yeah. Honestly, warfare and poetry, right? So you think to yourself, well, what am I meant to do? Freaking Odinism. And Wiccan. No. So for me, I'm very much at a stage now. We're over a decade into this, right? And now I'm at the stage where I've got what is collectively known as the words or opinions or testaments of Odin, right? I've got a color, a sigil, my interpretation of these teachings pretty much solidified. And I'm now at the stage of imagining all this in a tome. It's not a book, all right? It's a tome, all right? And life, the circle of life must be in this tome. So if anyone knows what goat skin paper is, it's very expensive, and that is what each of these pages is going to be consumed of. And that is the mission I'm on. Like, that is the mission I'm on. And I'm saying a lot of things here. You're the little rascals. So anyway, religion and that. Yeah. That's all right. The dream space. That's okay. We can still be friends, man. We can still be friends, you know. It's ironic that I've got a book next to me that's called a grimoire. I've got a lot of grimoires, but my most recent grimoire is here. And there's like 16 pages in the. So I've got my grimoire, but then I've got like my mad ramblings book that everything is interpreted from, that then goes into the grimoire. And when Nova was born, there's like 18 pages that got downloaded that I need to sift through and gather information from. But just keep in mind, Ron's not a role model. Don't try any of the things that Ron tries. Ron is not I do not walk in the light. I walk hand in hand with the darkness and the light, and I live in the gray, and I'm very happy here. Okay, and I have been here for a long time. And magic, sigils, manifesting will, that's a quarter of a century of experience. Everything that I'm learning with you guys and Beverly, these are all the new things. Not that we're learning, we're unlocking. Because we're already in the hole. Remember that you're in the hole. You're not looking for the hole, you're in it. Okay. You don't need to try to be a thing. You are the thing. Somewhere out there, somebody is charging about $500 for this, right? Where it's just like, you are the thing. You are in the hole. Just telling you, man, it's mad. The world is mad. Okay. Would you say all demons are evil? I would say demons are certainly not. I would say the modern incarnation that seems to manifest itself as a negative energy when we apply the Christian terminology or the New World terminology. There's good things and bad things. That's the way I would look at it. There's good things and bad things. The bad things have always been really bad things, and the good things have always kind of been really good things. So, in fact, you know what? I'm scrapping all of this crap now. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. So we're no longer going to be subjected to the conforming of modern religious texts. Okay, we're going to go back to how it should be and will be. Okay, and no, 100% no. There is not a conclusive line that I can draw under that term that would suggest they're all evil. No, it's very much down to the intent. Evil energies, positive energies, evil spirits, good spirits. The world needs to exist in a balance of good and bad. Okay? Of just that, good and bad. When the line is crossed into evil, that's what we're trying to do away with. Okay? Because the world needs balance of good and bad, but there's no place for evil. You understand? The gazelle who is preyed upon by the cheetah, we remove that, that's imbalance, right? Good and evil, bad and good have to exist. There's no place for evil. There's no place for evil. Okay? And convince me I'm wrong, bruh. Because we need that balance. We need that balance. But evil has no place here at all. There's just no place for it. And what I mean by evil is when you impose your will, and that will is the destruction, the torment, the prolonged massacring of someone's soul, their husk and their being. Yeah, there's no place for you here, mate. It's volcano time. All right. Volcano time. All right. So yeah. Everything else, awesome. Okay. Your intent, as long as your intent and your whole shenanigans isn't venturing over into the realm of what we call the blood magic, the ritualistic stuff, all of that, great. It might be messed up. Obviously, stay away from the kids. All right. Don't be reading into this and being like, oh, there's no loopholes. No, stay away from the kids. Okay. So stay away from the kids. No doing any nonsense with any kids. No destroying anyone's souls. No choppy into pieces. None of that. Good and bad have to exist. Evil has no place here. Alchemy is this absolute shizness. My boss spent a lot of time in prison because he was a very high-level alchemist out in America, believe it or not. Yeah. So, yeah, spells and potions and all kinds of things. Back. I appreciate it, by G. Oh, choppy. choppy. I mean, listen, I'm sorry. I do, like... I'm an acquired taste. I wish I knew more better ways of saying stuff, but it just all comes out like this. So yeah, no choppy, none of that. Actually, do you know what? It's algorithm. It's having to speak algorithm is why I say dumb stuff like no choppy. Because I can't say No. So no choppy. None of that. Oh yeah. No, they're counted. No. They count too. Oh no. They count too. They are in the mix. Okay. They're delicious, not pets. Animals, not pets. But yeah, I'm the stabby, but you can't say that word. So, see what I'm saying? Too risky that word. Honestly, I swear to God, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Divergent number 1. I'm glad that you're still here. I'm just reading your guys' awesome side chat here. YouTube put it on my feed unexpectedly. I really enjoyed it. What's the name of that? That's Dani Henderson, the lady that was here. Here is her YouTube channel. You should be able to find a link to Dani's channel in the description. And Dani's the real deal. Like, we're all the real deal, but I'm very much a novice in a lot of Dani's world and Beverly's world. I'm less of a novice in some of the stuff Dani talks about, if I'm being honest. Demons and daemons and entities, non-living beings, things that have been here for centuries but never walked around like we did. That's one thing, you know. Here's an example of one. We looked at it earlier. It's a great example of one. Non-living entity right there, which is a fire pixie bursting on the toilet. You know what I'm saying? It's even got little hands. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just so mad that there's people out there that are like, show me proof, right? And we've talked about the subtleties of magic, right? We've talked about how Hollywood has ruined magic for so many people. And I just want to say, this is one of Azria's images here. Azria, the creator of the unifier, the off-world DNA, all of that, has a freak of nature gift at capturing a madness on her camera. And the way that she describes it as, she'll be walking and then something will just tell her to stop. She can't even see anything to take a photo of. She's just the crazy lady with the pink hair doing this. But it's amazing. It's amazing. So when we talk about the subtleties of magic, when people are really condescending about, well, prove it, well, show us, we'll do this, we'll do that. Like, why? Why should I prove it to you? First of all, muggle. And until I figure out a more offensive term to use, I will stick with that. Because some people, right? Some people, regardless of them being in their hole too, regardless of all of this being available to them, fear of the unknown is an absolute, it's more than a feeling. It's a fundamental characteristic of most human beings. Do you know what human beings those are? The new souls. It's fear of the unknown, because everything is the unknown, because you're brand new. You're brand new. You know, we shouldn't be banning any of this stuff. Nothing should be banned, man. You got to understand that there's stuff going on with these books that we'll probably never fully understand and grasp. But I'll be honest with you, my will and intent is so strong when it comes to the things that I do, my things that I enchant, the sigils I make, all of these things. Like, I get it. If I'm just one dude and that's just my will going into something, centuries of global belief being forced into the cross, for example. Like, if we all see that cross, we all kind of know what it is. You know what I'm saying? We all kind of go, oh, that's Jesus and Christmas and Christianity on Christmas. Right, okay. Jesus is about Christmas. Okay. Well, not for my Christmas. Okay. Yule is my time. Okay. It's all about freaking bringing a tree inside, because if we don't bring a tree inside, the snow won't melt, right? Our ancestors, though, can I just say, our ancestors. This is what happens when there isn't properly scripted, credible television, right? If you take Breaking Bad, just take the series of Breaking Bad and take it back to the Viking era, no one's pillaging anyone. They're sitting about going, the chicken shop guy. Do you know what I'm saying? People just bored, man. People just bored. But outdoorsy, very outdoorsy, a bit pillagey, but very outdoorsy. Okay? All right? You know what I'm saying? So there's people that are just brand new, too distracted, man. Too distracted by the Breaking Bads of the world. And sometimes, I swear, I've said this so much, I wish there was a place that was called Ignorance is Bliss, and I could go there for a weekend, just one weekend a year. Right? One weekend a year. And I get there, and for 2 days, it's just ignorance, man. I'm just like, who cares, right? I mean, it would just be great, just for a weekend, once a year. That's all. Because new souls, you're thinking to yourself, well, what's the use if there's all these new souls? Do you know how collectively powerful all new souls who have the bravery to take a step forward, who have the bravery to be part of something? It's unstoppable. Because I'm telling you now, right? And I'm putting this sarcastic reverb on, right? Hang on. Let's get this. Let me get this released. Here we go. 1% versus 99%. Oh, odds are in our favor, baby. 1%. 1%. Honestly, I tell you what, you get your 1%, I'll get my 99%, and then we'll meet on a field. Right? Okay? Okay? I'm just saying, the maths, if you go and find the youngest member of your family, right? Make a point of this week, and then just show them the equation, right? Would you rather have 99% of something or 1%? Who would win? Okay, if we were to pile 99% of everything on top of 1%, would it crush it? It's so the maths are so outrageous. We could get really creative with it, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember ants where they all turned into the big ball and like rolled through them? We could do that, and it wouldn't even put a dent in our resources. It wouldn't even put a dent in them. Freaking human ball taking out 1/3%, right? So all I'm saying, right? All I'm saying is, you have nothing to fear. Okay, I know you feel a little bit like Joey Tribbiani on the inside, but that's okay. You're brand new. It's all good. Don't worry. You're brand new. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm telling you now, most of you in the side chat are definitely not brand new, just in case you think I'm talking to you. But we all know people who are brand new. They're scared. But they have these moments where they're like, oh, yeah, you know, this one time I was sitting staring at the TV and it suddenly came on, right? Or I was, this one time I woke up and my dead grandmother was talking about me and she warned me about something, so I believed her, and then I was meant to be on a train and then something bad happened, right? And they still don't believe. Okay? It's almost like you've been conditioned to accept a couple of weird stuff happens to everyone, but it's just science. Science can explain it, right? Science can explain it, right? Hell yeah, your God can be with you too, my G. Hell yeah. Bring your chosen God along for the ride. 100%. 100%. 100,000,000%, my G's. I do not care who your deity is, as long as your deity doesn't do any of the following choppies or the touching the children. Anything to do with that, we're all good, my guys. Okay, we're all good. Like, believe it or not, I want to live in a world where, oh God, someone just type out a religion in the side chat for me, because otherwise I'm just going to go with Christianity again, and I feel like I always punch them in the throat. So someone just give me another religion. Give me something interesting, right? Because I want to live in a world, right, where I can sit down with insert religion here that someone's going to type. A Hindu or a Buddhist, I'd be like, hey, tell me about your God. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'll tell them about my God. And then we'll be like, whoa, that was a really cool conversation. And they'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, hey, do you want to get like a baked potato or something? And they'll be like, yeah, I want to get a baked potato or something, right? Oh, shut up, Red Cap. Okay. I mean, 10 out of 10 for finding the only one. Okay. The only one. All right. 10 out of 10. And great to see you here. We're having a good day, Magick. But you got to understand. Oh, do you know what? I kind of feel like that's at the top. Do you know how little I know about Jehovah's Witnesses? The Mormons, I've at least seen a South Park episode about. But Jehovah's Witnesses, I know nothing, right? Nothing at all. But I can't stop watching these ring cam compilations of when Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses come to people's door and ring the ring cam. And obviously, the person's in their house and they're like, hi, it's the Mormon church. And they say something outrageous, like, oh, I can't, I'm in the middle of like, I can't get enough of it. I'm sure it's a form of assault in some way, and assault of the ears, right? But you're in your own house. They've rang your doorbell, and if you want to tell them that you're like, then that's your right, right? That's your right. But man, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. That is not a nice thing to do to people. Okay. But at the same time, don't be ringing my doorbell. Like, don't be ringing it. In fact, no, I'm on the side of the ring cam guy again. I've flipped again. If you're in your own house and someone rings your doorbell and you're in your house and you don't, like, it's different if it's face to face. I feel like it's a little more aggressive face to face. But if it's the tiny little door droid, the tiny little lovable door droid, they're adorable. I mean, they are. Let's stop calling them, they're droids. Okay. I live in Star Wars. Everything is a droid. Okay. It can't, it's got to be lesser of a crime, right? And it's not even, anyway, or side quest, stop. I'm interrupting myself, okay? See all the people that write down in the comments, oh, Ron, you interrupt everyone. Yeah, I interrupt myself. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about it. Anyway, listen, I've somehow managed to stretch out another half an hour of madness out of this. So great to see everyone. Great to talk to you all. I will see you back here in an hour or so. I'm going to get the next Julia thumb up. I'm just going to finish that off now. But I need to find out what the boss needs, and then I need to email. I got some thumbnails to make. All right. Said I should stop. Who said you should stop crying? Why did he say that to me? Who the hell are we talking about? Oh, homegrown. Are you upset in my side chat? Are you displacing the harmony that is my side chat? Because you'll get a smack bottom and we put on the nether realm to think about what you've done. I think you've already all right, Kiwi, pure joy, lol, stop crying. Okay, well, I mean, people are allowed to cry, man. You know, relax. All right? Relax. Everyone relax. Yeah, it's been doing it since the beginning. Homegrown. The way I run my community, man, is I'm not in control of the village. Okay. The village is the side chat. Okay. The people that live in the village are in charge of the village, man, and you're not doing yourself any favors. So consider this a warning, right? Don't mess up the harmony of my side chat. Do you know, years ago, Red Cap, I did a whole expose on this nudist community that we're using the nudist lifestyle as a way of incorporating. So here's the thing. If you're a nudist, right? And I turn around to you and I say, hey, how many nudists children's parties have you been to? right? I imagine you're going to say none, right? And then when I say to you, how many of them have you filmed and then sold the DVDs of on a website? I'm thinking probably none, right? But man, I mean, I wrecked this whole community, bro. Like this was wild. Their website, it was wild. And you know, it's the same thing I say about genuine child modeling agencies, right? So there's one in the UK. They advertise quite a lot, and it's like a legitimate child modeling agency does everything in its power to make everything like they're already aware that it's kind of a weird industry, right? So they want you, the parent, to know this is a serious professional business. All the kids are like like I don't know, like a winter coat, and they're throwing a snowball, right? And then you look at the ones that I've exposed, and it's kids and chaps, right? There's a big difference. You can tell. There's like oh no, what's going on here? Feeling when there's the bad ones. I'm not saying all the good ones that have a good representation are all good. Okay, I'm just making a point. Okay, that's all. What was my point? Why am I talking about this? It's something in the side chat scene. I can't remember. I need to go and have a coffee. All right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. If no one knows, then I don't know. Okay. Well, listen, thank you everyone for today. It's been awesome. I'll see you back here in a little while. Just keep in mind, you are in the hole. In the hole. And you are the thing. Jesus. Right. Love you guys. Peace. Like and share. Bye, G's.